The season finale of Three Things to Watch as we are here on a Friday, less than 24 hours away from kickoff of the National Championship, Rob. And it is a perfect time to look at the final keys going into this one. The first thing you'll be watching, the All-Americans in the trenches.
Yeah, but on both the offensive and defensive lines on both sides, there are All-Americans all over the place. Both of these teams like to run the ball and stop the run. It's their two big keys. And when you got all three All-Americans on the North Dakota State offensive line going against JMU's Rondell Carter and John Daka. On the other side, it's Liam Fornadel and Mac Patrick, All-Americans on the JMU offensive line going against that North Dakota State defensive front. Who's going to win the battle of the trenches? Who's going to be able to run the ball? Who's going to be able to protect the quarterback? I think it's a huge key for tomorrow.
Well, we got to hear from Rondell Carter in the team's final press conference today, and he talked about the North Dakota State offensive line.
Yeah, well, based on who their coach is, I know him pretty well, Coach Blazek. He was the O-line coach when I was at Rutgers. I know exactly what kind of mentality he brings. I know exactly how their players are going to probably play. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to do every little thing right. That's how he's always taught guys. And I'm assuming since he left, he's not going to change that just because he's at North Dakota State. And, just traditionally, they've just been having a great offensive line. So they have 3 All-Americans. I think all of them but one are juniors. So, just for them to be relatively young and still be as, disciplined and well coached as they are, I just expect them to be the same exact way. They're not going to probably do a lot of trash talking. That's not the type of team they are or O-line they are. But they are going to play very physical. They're going to play to the end of the whistle. And we got to be ready for that. But I think we'll be up for the challenge because our guys are ready for that for sure.
The second thing we'll be watching out for, Rob, is the special teams play. It could be a huge factor tomorrow, especially with some of the unpredictability of the weather.
Yeah, we had rain all day today. The field has been tarp, but it's very wet. The weather's supposed to turn tomorrow. It's supposed to be much cooler and very windy, so that'll make catching punts, catching kickoffs, and kicking into the wind, kicking against the wind. It's going to be a big factor. But special teams has been great for James Madison all year long. Ethan Radke with 25 field goals, which set a CA record this year. A veteran punter in Harry O'Kelly, who has the ability to make plays with his feet and run and kind of move around a little bit and pin people back. And then the great special teams returns for JMU. D'Angelo Amos is an All-American. They've had a lot of success returning kicks. And the other thing that JMU's done very well this year is block kicks. They've blocked punts. They've blocked field goals. Big plays in the special teams could be a factor.
Well, we heard from Kurt Signetti at the press conference today, and he talked about his special teams.
Well, special teams is huge. We've made some really big plays on special teams lately. We've had a few negative plays throughout the season also, but, I think it's going to be critical tomorrow. We've done a nice job with our punt, Harry, and pinning people back. Amos has done a nice job with the return. We blocked some punts. We also have prohibited fake punts, blocked quite a few field goals. You always alert for a fake there. Radke, has been pretty consistent, kicked the ball very well this week in practice, and our kickoff return game has really been good, and most people don't kick to us, and I think North Dakota State will because that's what they do. They have good coverage, and I expect the wind will be a factor. We don't know what it's going to be. I've seen anywhere from 15 to 30 miles an hour, so it's going to be very important at the end of every special teams play that you retain possession of the ball. We've got to catch the punts, and same thing on kickoff return. So, everybody talks more about offense, but teams, that's a good question.
And our last thing to watch tomorrow, Rob, will be the turnover battle. We have two teams that hardly ever beat themselves and hardly ever turn the ball over.
I think that's exactly right, Bobby. I mean, when you look at both of these teams, to have the success they have, they don't beat themselves. And you can't turn the ball over in a game that we both anticipate this is going to be a very close game tomorrow. And mistakes one way or another, giving somebody a short field, could be a factor. It starts with the two quarterbacks. Trey Lance, the quarterback at North Dakota State, the Missouri Valley Offensive Player of the Year. 28 touchdowns, no interceptions, unbelievable. Ben DiNucci, the CAA Offensive Player of the Year, 27 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions all year long. These guys have done a great job of taking care of the ball, and they're going to need to do that again tomorrow.
JMU's Rashad Robinson addressed the North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance and how they'll have to defend him tomorrow.
He's a very good quarterback for as young as he is. He's very patient. He hits the open receivers. He has good playmakers on the outside, so in the back end, we just got to make sure that we're doing our job and playing sound football.
Those were Rob's final 3 things to watch. And tomorrow, North Dakota State, JMU at noon Eastern on ABC. It should be a good one.
It should be a great one. Number 1, North Dakota State. Number 2, James Madison. It's the matchup everybody's been waiting for since that playoff field was announced. It's finally here, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, the CA football crew will be here to cover it all tomorrow. Continue to follow all of our social media outlets, and we'll be back here tomorrow after the game to wrap it up.